I have a lot of parsley stems. Well, to be honest, these are not just parsley stems. There are some coriander stems in here, some dill stems, and even some leftover, a bit old mint leaves for added measure. But the better question is, how did I end up with this literal mountain of herbs on my table? Well, everything that you see here is technically throwaway. All of this has been collected over 4 days from a restaurant that I work in, and as any restaurant, we do the classic. We use nice, pretty leaves for finishing sauces or adding a bit of delicacy to the plates or finishing plates. And everything else, well, this is throwaway, and that sucks because there's a lot of flavor that can be extracted from these stems if you just play around with your food a bit, ask it the right questions, and approach it with a little bit of creativity and excitement. And the main thing that I want to show you in this video is how to use all of these throwaway parts of herbs, to make a very concentrated and strong and bright green sauce. Not the most original name, I know, but it gets to the point very well. It's a nice bright green sauce. And the reason I'm kind of excited about it is because it teaches you a principle of cooking. I don't want you to learn recipes, I don't want you to memorize how much salt or acid or whatever you need to add to food. I want you to understand it. And understanding food is very powerful. And what this sauce is going to teach you to understand is how to balance salt, acidity, olive oil flavors to get creamy textures and a balance of flavor, especially in a delicate sauce like this. And also, we're gonna look at how to understand oil flavor. You know, olive oil is not the same as rapeseed oil, and it can be used in a different way based on the actual result that you want to get. And that's kind of exciting because if you understand how oils work, you will understand what flavors they produce and how to be a better cook overall. So, with that intro out of the way, time to cook. Now, let's talk about the actual making on the underlying principles behind this green sauce. I want to show you how to go from this, a bunch of throwaway herb stems, to this, a sauce that pours nicely, is cold, covers your mouth very nicely, and you just feel satisfied when eating it. And the underlying concept that is super interesting to me when making this sauce is the principle of kind of balance. And there are three elements that three elements that you're gonna try to balance with this. Is gonna be the salt, the acidity, and the olive oil sharpness, brightness, the flavor of olive oil. And with these three things, they're all gonna play an important role. Now, think about salt as the enhancer of flavors in this recipe or any recipe pretty much in the world. Salt, when you're going to be adding it here, is going to help you bring those mild herby flavors to the front and make them stronger and more enhanced. Like think about the flavor, the almost grassy, nice, woody flavor that parsley or coriander leaves in your mouth. Salt is going to enhance it and make that flavor stronger and bring it to the front rather just being a backseat passenger in this case. Now with lemon, by adding lemon juice or lemon rind to make it even more complex, you're gonna want to cut through the fat and balance the game of the heaviness versus the freshness of the sauce. You're just gonna make it nicer, fresher, lighter. And just as a side note, lemon acid or any acid is going to help you make any sauce stay greener for longer because of the ascorbic acid in the sauce, and it's going to help to prevent it from oxidizing. So that's a nice little bit of science for you. And then the olive oil, and I specifically mentioned olive oil in this case for reasons we'll get onto a bit later, also has flavor. And I really want you to start loving and understanding olive oil flavor. It's tangy, sharp, bright, like it leaves your mouth kind of confused because it's nice but it's sharp. You wouldn't want to drink it on your own, but it does have a flavor that contributes a lot to any dish that you add it to. And in this sauce, we're going to try to add olive oil in incremental stages, and it's going to balance the, let's say, mild flavors of the herb with the strong grassiness of the olive oil. It's going to be a nice balancing act, and you're going to see how lemon, how salt, and how the grassy, sharp, tangy olive oil all come together to transform stems, the throwaway part of the herbs, into a nice, even, rounded sauce. And that's very satisfying to me, and that's very exciting to me. All time to make it. The whole process begins with blanching, and to put it very simply, blanching is just putting something into salted boiling water for a short period of time and then quickly transferring it into ice cold salted water. And we're going to be blanching the stems for a couple of reasons. Firstly, we want to reduce the fibrous texture that the stems have so then it blends easier and nicer. And secondly, we want to preserve as much chlorophyll or the green color in the stems as possible, and blanching will deactivate the enzyme that is responsible for degrading chlorophyll. So in the end, you're gonna get a sauce that is gonna stay greener for longer, and it's just gonna be greener than if you didn't blanch it. This also works for vegetables like broccoli or other green stuff. So next part is gonna be starting to blend the sauce. I'm gonna be adding a bit of lemon zest, some salt, and a bit of water to help it blend nicer and smoother. And you're gonna wanna blend until you get like a rough, chunky sauce. You definitely don't need it smooth, just until there is like an excess of water building up. Next, you're gonna want to transfer the chunky mixture into a strainer or a cheesecloth and squeeze out as much of the mixture as possible. So you're gonna want to end up with this like nice green colored liquid, and you're gonna use that as the base for your sauce. Alright, time for a sidebar about oils. And here's a framework I want you to keep in mind when making this recipe. In this recipe specifically, olive oil is for flavor, whereas rapeseed oil is for texturing. See, if we were to use only olive oil in this recipe, we would need to add so much olive oil that it would just overpower the whole balancing act that we're trying to achieve. You wouldn't feel the nice herbs, you wouldn't feel the acidity, you would just feel bitter, harsh olive oil, and you would screw up the whole balancing act. Whereas if you combine rapeseed oil and olive oil, let's say you use 30% olive oil, 70% rapeseed oil, you achieve, again, a balancing act. With the 30%, you kind of get those nice herby, woody flavors of olive oil, the sharpness of it, and with the rest, the 70% of rapeseed oil, you are able to texturize the sauce. The oil helps you thicken the sauce, and by using a neutral oil like rapeseed oil, you don't add any flavors that you don't want, and you achieve that balancing act. The citrus is able to shine, the parsley is able to shine, the coriander is able to shine, everyone's happy, it's all nice, and the balancing act is achieved. Again, people call for, oh, use neutral flavored oil. What they really mean is just use oil without flavor so that whatever you're making actually shines through rather than you're tasting the oil. So let's say you want to make chili oil, right? The recipe will usually call for, oh, use a neutral flavored oil so that the oil flavor doesn't overpower the chili flavor. And you can use this mind frame to work with any recipe that you have. Let's say you want the actual flavor of the oil in the recipe. Let's say you're using walnut oil, sesame oil, olive oil. If you want those flavors and you want to feel them, use those oils. But if you want the oil just for, let's say, frying or thickening something or making a flavored oil, use something that doesn't have flavor, like rapeseed oil, and it's going to be way cheaper and the result is going to be way better because you're not going to overpower the product. And as another sidebar, it's very cool to think how adding neutral flavored oils helps with flavor solubility. Sometimes it's nice to add a little bit of oil or butter to a recipe just because some flavors dissolve better in oil, whereas some flavors dissolve better in water, and then you bring out more and more and more flavors. But that's a sidebar in a different video in itself, and it's more for the future. Time to thicken the sauce. Well, I successfully corrected all of the footage I had of making the sauce thick, so I'm gonna give you a quick demo from home. Pretend that the cup is the sauce. I guess my finger is gonna be the blender. But the most important thing that you're gonna wanna do is pour the oil at a slow stream like that, almost a drop at a time, maybe a bit faster, so that the blender has enough time to disperse the oil throughout the whole sauce. And if you go like way too fast with a big stream, you're gonna end up with a split sauce with the oil at the top, the watery green mixture at the bottom, and you're not gonna have the texture that you are looking for. And accordingly, as you go in with the oil, go in with with the acid, with the lemon, with the salt, and you're gonna end up with the mixture and the flavor that you actually want. That's money. That's the money. Yeah, it's nice. I feel everything I want to feel in there. I have the lemon hits me first. It's not sour. It's not like acidic, too acidic or anything. It's just nice and fresh. And as it hits my mouth, I feel like it coats all of my mouth. That's thanks to the rapeseed oil. Like it gives the texture, the thickness that you're looking for. And I get the like herby flavors. I can't really distinguish. Oh, is it parsley? Is it coriander? Is it the bit of mint that I'm feeling? It's just herby, floral, nice textured flavors. And then you get hit like in the back of my throat. I feel the nice olive oil, the like bitter yet fresh, woody, grassy flavors. Yeah, this is all I want from this sauce. And that is all I have to say about herb stems this time. If you enjoyed the video or found any of the information in it useful, leave a like and subscribe, or comment down below with any questions that you have or any ideas that you want to see next. And if you're wondering how to best use this sauce, well, go as far as your creativity allows it. Put it on fish, chicken, dress a salad with it, put it on a pizza, or the way I like to do it is just
sensational.